because Egypt, with the structure of the country, the history, different religions live here in Egypt for years and years. We cannot start sorting people according to their gender or religion. This is one part. The second and most important one is the economy. From day one, the ex-government should work on improving the economic condition of the country. People are very much interested in their life. Without supporting them, without opening up new projects, without giving your full attention to the economic progress, rather than into vengeance, into exchange positions, and taking over in certain position of the country, this should be phase 2 if it happened. But this will never happen here in Egypt. For 1,400 years, we are Muslims, live with the Christians, with the Jew, with everybody. We never felt that this is an Egyptian Christian and this is Egyptian Muslim. We never think about it. So this is something new. We have to forget about it. We have to live as Egyptians. Even in the Quran, God Almighty advised us when He said, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. At the end of the verses, they said, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. So this is the Islam. This is the Islam. This is our Islam. Anyway, it's history now. We hope that we start reorganize our papers. Our economy has to be the first priority of any upcoming government. Things should go back to normal as soon as possible. I hope that no more demonstrations. Streets should be emptied as soon as possible so we can pinpoint the troublemakers. But as long as the people are still in the Tahrir Square, in Masjid Jadida and all these places, you cannot differentiate between the normal demonstrators and the troublemakers. Accordingly, I hope that all the people who made up this unbelievable revolution should go back home. 1, 2, back to work. We need the people to go back and work. The country needs everybody now to be in his office or in his factory or in his position to restart, build the country again. In 1 year, we have a total destruction of the Egyptian economy. We have to regain it. And I'm very optimistic about what will happen in the upcoming 2-3 months. As long as your economy is weak, you are not a major player in the area. But I can see very optimistic signs, and this happened last week. On Tuesday, when the Egyptian army gave the ultimatum, the following day, the Egyptian stock exchange gained 11.4 billion pounds in 1 day. So if you're asking me about my expectations, I can tell you in the next 10 days, we can get back the 54 billion Egyptian pounds that we lost in the last 6 months. So I'm very optimistic that the economy will move again, unless the demonstrations and the troubles and the demands from all parts continue. If we have to give ourselves a very quiet, peaceful area so the economy could start again. And I start with the stock exchange because this is the indicator that tell you where the economy is heading. Within a month or two, and thanks God we are during summer, I am expecting with good conditions that the businessmen, the Egyptian businessmen who left the country with their money, with their projects, will start to come back. And this will re-energize the economy. And then comes the foreign investors. I am expecting by the end of this summer, most of the Egyptian important businessmen, those good businessmen that just leave the country because they cannot live and work in this environment, regardless the title of this environment. But anyway, I'm expecting them by the end of the summer to be back. By the end of this year, the economy will be fully powered. but in one condition: stability. We need stability for those great youngsters who run this revolution. We are chapeau. They did a very good job. The whole world is watching us now, but we need some quiet, peaceful period so we can start work again and the economy start work again. We are, for the first time in the last 60 or 65 years, we are practicing democracy. And if you are practicing democracy, you have to understand the rules and regulations of the democracy. Everybody has to start look into the political parties, empower them, go to the people in the streets rather than only sitting talking over the TV on the talk shows every night. This is how the political process should go if we are practicing the real democracy, because at the end of the day we'll stand on lines for voting. So you can talk 24 hours a day over the TV, but if you don't have touch with the people in the street, in the villages, everywhere, when it comes to election, you will lose again. And this is what happened last time, because we spend most of the time talking over the TV, while the Muslim Brotherhood, as a coherent group, was working on the floor, on the ground. So when there is an election, they have this victory. And this will happen again if the civil groups did not work with the people in the streets. It's only one sentence. The next president should be a president for all Egyptians, not for a certain group. If you look into the democracies like in the United States or in Britain, in the United States they only have the Democrats and Republicans. So if the president is a Republican and there is a discussion in the Congress or in the Senate, he is getting in touch with the leaders of the Democrats or Republicans, the other party, and they negotiate and discuss all the issues, because he is ruling one country, one people, not a group. So what happened with ex-President Morsi will never happen again, unless we have, excuse the language, a stupid one. Nobody will do this again, never. The lesson is very clear. He was following the steps of the ex-President Mubarak. Everybody was asking him about the Prime Minister, about the Attorney General. Very small things. People were asking him. This is exactly what ex-President Mubarak did. And he paid the price. 2 years later, he did the same mistakes. I don't know if he has using the same counselors or he has different, but he was doing the same, he committed the same mistakes. I don't think a third one will come and do the same thing. When he elected as a president, he has to understand that yes, he is coming from Muslim Brotherhood, but he is ruling 90 to 95 million Egyptians. He has to be the president of everybody, not for a certain group. He spent most of his time thinking about how to put Mr. X here and Mr. Y there, and then he started revenge. Look at the South Africa experience. Nelson Mandela, he sent, by the way, he sent a letter to Egyptian government after January 25th revolution, advised them about what he did in South Africa. And this guy spent 27 years in jail in very horrible conditions. The whites was dealing with the blacks as they are not a human being. But when he elected as a president, he acted as the president of all the people in South Africa. And at that time, it was so easy to get the people together. Although there is bloody history between them, but it was very easy with his way of thinking as a president of South Africa as a whole to get these people together. They start having rugby sports together. They start he organized, he orchestrated. And I advise everybody to read this letter that has been sent by the South African president, Nelson Mandela, to the Egyptians and the Tunisians when they start their revolutions. Nobody discuss it. Nobody even read it. Nobody even mention it. Please Google it and read what Nelson Mandela sent to us. This is the prescription for Egypt in the upcoming years. If not, I am sure this will happen again and again and again. Legitimacy means that I give you authorization to run the country, but not on your own, with your own group and your own people. You are running the whole country, seeking the interest of everybody in this country, not the interest of certain groups. I hope this will never happen again. The media is considered one of the most important weapons now in the whole world. They can destroy a whole country. They can destroy economy. One single statement in a newspaper or a magazine could shake up the stock exchange for a day or so. So it's very important for the journalists, for the media as a whole, to understand their mission, which is first to create public awareness about major issues. Democracy is something new for us. You know, in my generation, we born after 1952 revolution. We don't know what democracy is. Maybe because I lived for a long time outside and I have my education outside in the United States. But if I am an Egyptian living in this country for the last 60 years, I don't know what democracy is. What this rules and regulations of practicing democracy. We should have informed the people or create public awareness of important issues, either political or economic issues. People, and I think I played a very important role in this. When the Egyptian Stock Exchange returned back, I have a lot of meetings, and we trained a lot of journalists in Egypt and outside Egypt about how the stock market works, how the banking system works, how the economic institutions works. So we need to start to create public awareness about the major issues that we are facing and the challenges that we are going to face in the upcoming years. We have to look into the mega projects that could create jobs to this country in Sinai, in Suez Canal, even inside the Nile path, which has been this idea by Dr. Farouk El-Baz. Lot of mega projects that could be started in Egypt. We need to create awareness to the people, not just only attacking this, because actually when the ex-government start talking about creating a mega project in Suez Canal, they are practicing it as what has been done in the good old days, that they will have this project in the Suez Canal area, and then the Saudis will participate, the Qataris will participate. No, this is not the work mega project should. They should have studied it through international institutions, consultants, and then offer it to the whole world. Because if this is a real project for the country, I don't care about who is the investor. But in order to get a specific country or a specific investors for a project in this very sensitive area, this could put a very big question mark on the whole project. So we have to rethink about how to launch mega projects to the public for the sake of the country. First of all, we need stability, security to be back. Start using new techniques to reach the outside world. To start selling the idea of tourism is back to Egypt. To start attracting the foreign direct investment again, which reached zero in the last central bank report. No foreign direct investment in Egypt for months. We have to start think about how to gain the confidence of the investors, and you have to start with the Egyptian investors. because if you cannot gain the confidence of the Egyptian investors, you cannot ask a foreign one to come. So they have to see that the Egyptians are back to Egypt, factories start working again, and you can use a lot of out-of-the-box ideas about how to reach the outside world, telling them that Egypt is back, the economy is improved, the tourism is back, and then think about mega projects with new rules and regulations. We have to start to rethink about the whole legislation system in Egypt, so we can have the rules and regulations that will protect the investor from playing Mickey Mouse business with them that was happened before.